to break us your boy. Eye Echo Bank, Adaroma, and Waso Yasne, Ama Yede Bro.
Omade shema munyina ha UTV asuni omemu nsam ne amahodo so de awosamfo aso no ene na awie mede be sommo kase bo kwan so me amedi kase ho chia me medin de ama saponkoma jesi ensem eto dwane bi ene se ECOWAS court wonum atu kani chief justice maame esaba tokonu ne nsem ode koda wo mu fa ho aya ho ne to akonwa no wo mu so abo ato egu na Interpol so say soboa yede eto yewura kenofori ataso ya special prosecutor pese ye woni nkonsa edeba no omo so ato saa ensem no ato atwene omampanyi John Dramani Mahama ede ato dwase eyade a oman Ghana nyame adom ye niema pii nanso so kamea yese yentumi nkoye nim se de yesese yekọ na obesakra enimu ensem afofo bi kan wenum ho na awie mede sommo aseda piesie ekọ ede ama this way chocolate drink do here any specialized mineral water any special drinks ya wonum eboye chidom saso so na aseda enkoma ye nana afiasafo ye miti na clothing palace wonum ehye matade ye kwa homa ne so na ye ne yenua ba Philippa Atanga akodi nkomo de afa ECOWAS court tu a womotu ye maami tokono asem no ato egu no aso de pa ne komu womotena so anaya nhwekora Philippa ma han
ye nia
obapa faye koy
ye nia yo se be kaya emra amanibo beto odwa se mampanyin John Mahama say chief justice and coming chief justice get to talk no ontwe ne ho na nkofo bi di nsema ba be dan ne say ni ye bi enkoyi na ade nti yama ne ntwe ne ho ne hwehwemu no emra nsem no ekosoa no ye be kaya chief justice edi ne nsem edan court ewo Ghana ha say ebi na ebi wo Supreme Court ebi nso wo High Court na emu hona na chief justice assign de enkrata ekoto ECOWAS court eni ai no say inoma ekoso wo Ghana ha no say esi ontwe ne ho fi ni dibrese chief justice any committee kwa ya set up say umunti na asem no enoma bi wo ho mo aya etietia ni fa ahodie so na ema chief justice this ansem no kodan ECOWAS court no na attorney general Dr. Dominica Yini enso de enkrata ekoma ECOWAS say o say ECOWAS court no asema ekoso wo Ghana ha no ECOWAS court ni tutumi say omu betie sa asem no esan say yen Ghana ha yemra enchirechiri mu nsem ene yeka enti ECOWAS court ni tutumi eno dan chen a nsem no kwa chief justice e de abedan omo no ye ka sa asem no wo Ghana ha court enti no ECOWAS ni tutumi so mu betie na ECOWAS court ne tena ase no ginaye omu si ye ne say sa preliminary objection na attorney general eka a o ka se omu ni tutumi so omu betena asem no so no eno de omu njintumu omu wo tutumi se omu beti asem no esan say ensem a chief justice toko no de abedan ECOWAS court no enye Ghana hamra enchirechi mu asem bia na eka nya omu ka no efa say ye tietia chief justice toko no ni fa ahodie so nti eno no mu otutumi so omu beka ho asem nti na chese asem no omu beti ena wa share Dr. Dominica Yini ya attorney general say omu muaye and as a response to asem na chief justice e de abedan omu no former chief justice e de abedan omu no omu filing within 30 days nti omu 30 days say chief justice nsem o de abedan mu nie muaye na se ne amu wo kafa ho no mumu abani nyina no na within 30 days mu fa be to court ni na another nchen a ema chief justice din nkata na akwakoto no chief justice former chief justice get to talk no esan share court ne say Kagana ebeka say interlocutory injunction ne say answer na asem no kra ye betie say ye tietia ne fa ahodie so anas ye tietia ne fa ahodie so no opese committee ana etie na asem justice forman committee ya na omuti na asem yisu ana omuti asem no opese court no ehye committee no mo fo badwuma nto ho no mo na afen so twena yama na twene ho say chief justice at the time no yama on koswa na on hold this position no as chief justice na no nso ene ECOWAS si saa asem no ginaye ECOWAS na asem ne say Chief Justice Toko no asem o kase na nka ye e wo say ye ma ni suspension ye yi free ho e na committee na ejuma no nso ye ma mu gya ye na ade no Chief Justice Toko no ye beka no agency no wan fan ka ho say ye di asem bi edi na wani nje ho na asem no omo sha ase e omo di asem no watna se saa e ko be abosome miensa ansa na waba se yen kan show mo se anase yen show mo so mo fo mo dwumadi nto no Chief Justice no an attach that agency anase entempa na nko pese omo de kan asem no wanye saa de no wanda saa ne ye lebi ntie no ECOWAS court ne se omo ntumi nye ho hwe ntie no omo abosa asem negu enti saa me bebia asem na kodu ne se eye asem na etiatia Chief Justice fan wudi eso no ende ECOWAS se obeti asem no na se onka no wo che se committee no nhyehyɛ ne ne yɛkeka wo na de ende omo se wanya ne ntem nti no ende mra pa ho nti hwi ni wa ombetumi aye afam
Yadase papa ye absuafo yetoa ensem no eso Ghana mampanyi John Dramani Mahama so e de ato edwase ebibi man kamya ye se nyame ama ye bibia bi nanso so yentimi mpem nkonkan ese de aman ahodo ye no nka yempo na wohwemu a wosenka yabasa ye dene e wo no so enso ni nyina agina ne ma bi a yatoto na senti bra so ese ye fa yaboso obo na ye gina ye nan so.
When Nkrumah Jomo Kenyatta, Ras McConnell, Ami Ashud Garvey, and so many others walked into the Charlton Town Hall in Manchester, they carried with them the collective hope of millions of oppressed Africans. And their message was clear and loud, that Africa must unite, that Africans must shape their own future, and that the dignity of African people is not negotiable, and that political liberation must open the door to economic and social liberation. Those leaders set the stage for what will become the great wave of independence that swept across Africa in the decades that followed. Today we honor their courage, we honor their foresight, and we honor their belief that Africa can unite and be a continent of dignity and prosperity. 80 years on, the struggle has changed, but it is far from over. Our generation faces new forms of domination, some subtle, some obvious, some economic, some technological, some ideological, and some political. Africa remains a continent rich in natural resources, but poor in global influence. We remain the custodians of the world's minerals, energy, biodiversity, and youthful population. And yet too many of our people remain unemployed, undereducated, or excluded from opportunity. We speak of integration, yet intra-African trade is less than 20%. And too many African youth today are losing faith in a continent that once promised them dignity, prosperity, and pride. The struggle of this moment is not for independence or from colonial domination. It is a struggle for economic transformation, technological sovereignty, climate justice, a fairer global financial order, political stability and democratic accountability, the full implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area, and a united continent where Africans can travel freely on their own continent. These are the battles that define today's Pan-Africanism. These battles are more complex and challenging than the fights against colonial domination.
Christian Council of Ghana eko mampanyini anaso na komodidie mu na mampanyi John Dramani Mahama de ato wanimu se tumi a Ghana fo ye de amano no enya de a obetoto na se na baabi obepeja Ghana akwakoduro no ekamia ye se obi obeba wo na chi bia no se yempuntu nyuma en wo yo ya untumi nsa ma Ghana mete nko na chi obeto aso afiri ho se de be ya Ghana betumi afa ne ntoma pa efra.
My mission is to use the mandate Ghanaians have given me to move Ghana to a level where anybody who comes after cannot reverse the gains that we have done. And then people come to me and say, oh, but oral is too slow, the investigations and prosecutions are too slow and all that. But the point is, we have a constitution. We are not in the military and revolutionary days. A person, even whatever they say the person has done, the person must have his day in court. And a judge must look at the evidence and decide whether he's guilty or not guilty. Society can condemn the person as guilty, but when you present the facts in court, the judge might have a different opinion. And so, even though, I mean, I'm sure most Ghanaians would want us to have one big courts, this thing, put them in, and then in 1 week we dispatch your case and then straight to Nsawam and just keep dispatching them. We have a constitution and we must follow the process. And you don't just get up and take the person to court because you believe he's committed a crime. You must gather the evidence. Because however guilty you think a person is, if you don't gather the evidence and you just rush a case to court, the judge will throw it out. And so they say all this oral thing and this, that. The investigative organizations are working as and when they have sufficient evidence, then they take the case to court. And so we're not going to rush those cases if we don't have evidence because the public is baying for blood. We're going to go through, gather the evidence, prepare the dockets properly, so that when we take these people to court, we're sure of what it is we've accused them of. And so the fight against corruption, we're committed to it. We'll be impartial and fair, and we're working to strengthen the institutions and make sure that we give them the logistics that they deserve.
Christian Council nsreye mu na mampanyini sade ato edwase ade a ye kase cabinet agi atomu ye tribunal bill no public tribunal bill no yaji atomu enti ebeboa ama galamsey ya ese ye nsuoni akwaye ne yatena ye no yetumi oye saso obi mu a yetumi edi nasam tententem na asotwe ye fata ho na ye de ama no na atentene atumi akoso.
So far we've arrested more than 1,700 people. The courts to even process these people is a problem. So many of them we've been forced to grant them bail. And in some cases, when you go back to look for them, they've left the area. And so one of the things Cabinet did the last time was to pass the public tribunals bill, so that we'll push issues to do with illegal mining to the public tribunals, because they would adjudicate faster and let justice be seen to be done. And as the tribunals have it, they have a judge, and then they have 4 other members who either have a legal background or of a certain level of understanding of the law. And so if that comes, we would be able to process, these cases against illegal mining even quicker. There's another aspect to it. One of the main focuses has been to push the illegal miners out of the forest reserves. And so part of the focus has been the forest reserves, and then also mining on the water bodies. And so they are on the water bodies, they are seizing Shamfam machines, they are destroying them. We've said that any Shamfam machine they seize, they should destroy it so that it can be used again. And so that's another aspect of it. Then the next aspect, which the EPA just started, was to go to those who are providing the spare parts and the equipment to the illegal miners. Because if you're able to take a hold of that place, then they won't get the tools they need to go and do the illegal mining.
Etiwa East Mrashe Bejani dia to edwase wose aban di mputupuru dwumadie bi eto honomo ya ye beyire ne kete said ye beye a yensuo ni akwaye no a eseye no ye betumi atu ase na no so wose sika tumi kom sika ankomo a okon no ebekọ akoso nkwantia.
In the same budget program, the fight against illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. Mr. Speaker, in the same budget, paragraph 1009, the minister said that the devastation caused by illegal mining has gone far.
Uzafo ya home so tiawa yeba yebeto so.
Subre kasiye boy. Eye EcoBank adaroma. En waso yasene ama yede bro.
Akwatia East Mrashebedwani eye abna osei asare ode atodwa se galamsey ekon no sa aban betumi akoni yedi a wo se omasika eti no.
The fight against illegal mining, popularly known as galamsey. Mr. Speaker, in this same budget, paragraph 1009, the minister said that the devastation caused by illegal mining has gone far beyond economics. It threatens our survival. That is what the minister said. It threatens our survival. So, Mr. Speaker, if something threatens your survival, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to fight it to make sure you survive. And how can you fight it when with a ministry of 2.1 billion budget, you only give the agency to fight it 150 million Ghana cedis, Mr. Speaker? 150 million Ghana cedis out of the 2.1 billion budget given to the Ministry of Lands and Forestry. Let me also look at, let's look at infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, the reason why we are not seeing that growth is because of infrastructure. Mr. Speaker, every infrastructure is infrastructure. So that you cannot tell us that the Accra-Kumasi Road will be done in 2027 and that you have funds to do other equally important roads that you haven't even begun. But here we are, the Accra-Kumasi Road. People take 8 good hours from Accra to Kumasi. Lots of working time, business time, economic time, Mr. Speaker. And so we have Accra Kumasi. It is to a certain rate. And we are asking, every infrastructure is infrastructure. Why don't you complete that one? And yet you are asking us, you will do so in 2027, Mr. Speaker. If this budget is a budget of growth, then they should look at this because it is also very, very important.
Tana North Mrashebedwani eye Dr. Gideon Boakon na ono so e de ato eja SS a wo hwe ye inflation no a say yenya single digit no a eye MPP aban modern mo enene ami ehu de ehu.
Mr. Speaker, by April 2014, in line with the Standard Credit Facility Agreement between the Government of Ghana and the IMF, certain macro-fiscal programs had been put in place for inflation to peter out and end 2025 with a single digit. This was widely published and communicated by both the IMF and then the Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, I must say that it is refreshing that this government has stayed put with that arrangement by the previous government, and today we have single-digit inflation. I am sure Minister Amin and Abna will be happy that the seed they sowed and watered has germinated into this single-digit inflation that we are witnessing today. Despite this development, Mr. Speaker, I have some worries about some of the tools deployed by the current government to enhance the single-digit inflation, and this holds serious consequences for the economy and individuals. I dare say, Mr. Speaker, per the arrangements that were put in place by the previous government, we were still going to achieve single-digit inflation if this government had not deployed these tools. Mr. Speaker, what are the tools I'm talking about? The government deployed 2 main tools in 2025 to enhance the attainment of the single-digit inflation. One is the sterilization mechanism from the monetary policy side by Bank of Ghana, and 2 is the excessive fiscal consolidation by the Ministry of Finance, anchored on delayed payments and arrests, just to let the books look good. Mr. Speaker, what do we say when we mean sterilization? Sterilization simply means that this government assumed that there was so much money in the pockets of the Ghanaian people and therefore decided to siphon all these monies back into the Bank of Ghana, depriving households of potential disposable income and increased consumption. This is what the minister did. Mr. Speaker, if we read the budget statement, paragraph 248, the minister states, and I quote, "To contain monetary policy expansion, the Bank of Ghana intensified open market operations in alignment with its disinflation objectives. Growth in net domestic assets was curtailed through enhanced stabilization and reductions in net claims on government." Mr. Speaker, this is so interesting. The minister states, a total of 62 billion cedis was.
Bia East Mrashebedwani Yewura Richard the champion na wode aso edwa se wo hwe pasa Ghana yetumi agya sika seye ne dwurumudie ne katachche ne proya enka wo behunu se IMF kra yenkodan wo mu nkosrese.
Mr. Speaker, a lot of under-invoicing, smuggling are ongoing. Yesterday, I sat in a meeting, and some declaration that they did, misclassifications, amounted to about $31 billion. Let's say our rate is 12 Ghana cedis. Multiply 31 billion by 12. And Mr. Speaker, we go to IMF to borrow $3 billion. And these leakages are going on. So you have a minister who has taken the trouble upon himself to do all these things to make sure that we rake in more revenue. This is something we need to support in the budget. Mr. Speaker, if we're able to plug all these loopholes, there is no need going to IMF to borrow money. Yes. We have a lot of resources, but corruption and wastage is what is killing this country. So it's about time we come together as a people to fight all these things. Mr. Speaker, when corruption is mentioned, everybody will be pointing hands to a politician, members of parliament. Meanwhile, we don't have a budget. We don't sign contracts. The very people who are indulging in corrupt practices are out there. But we are here fighting each other. Instead of bringing our fine ideas together to deal with the situation, because we are in opposition, we don't want the government to succeed. By the end of the day, all this success story that we are telling ourselves, all of us are benefiting from it. All of us. Fiscal balance, percentage of GDP, Mr. Stewart, on commitment basis. MPP left at negative 7.9. We are reporting 1.5%. Primary balance as a percentage, they did negative 3%. We are doing positive 1.6%. Primary balance on cash basis, they did negative 1.2%. We are doing positive 0.7%. Public debt, as a percentage of our GDP, you did 61.8%. Today, we are reporting 45%. Mr. Speaker, current account balance, as a percentage of GDP, MPP left at 2%.
Yatwa and Samno so Yadaswa war and Rashibedafie. Na wale about 1 so when we for Dr. Mahamatia Karibu Edia Tuja se Sawusha any PP abino omutua na mon papa ene nedia bedru de yedre sanse o mesika sama enyini yehu se mpeja aba mu niema atedin no ya abandada ne hwehwe ya odigu akwan so ne yaka bi no mu a ye de che ye nso so ewa adwama so.
Mr. Speaker, they talk about net debt accumulation, and that GDP to Debt-to-GDP was around 61%, even with rebasing. And they have failed to even tell this House that they have done virtually nothing about our debt situation. Virtually nothing. The government has not done anything about the debt situation. What has culminated to the lower debt-to-GDP ratio is because, Mr. Speaker, we went into a GDP program. Mr. Speaker, we had a debt standstill. Mr. Speaker, we had bilateral and multilateral debt forgiveness. Mr. Speaker, we were able to renegotiate and send most of our obligation into the future. That is what caused the debt-to-GDP ratio to be down. Mr. Speaker, they talk about the fact that they are not borrowing, and that this is the only year we have net debt accumulation in their own budget, Mr. Speaker. Read page 185 to 197. In 2027, they are borrowing 8 billion. They are going to borrow another 8 billion in 2026 and another 9 billion in 2029 in that budget for your projects alone. And you want us to praise. Mr. Speaker, let me now come to the finance minister. The finance minister in this house in 2025 came to this house and told us that they were going to implement the Big Push program. They allocated an amount of 13 billion, Mr. Speaker, to the Big Push program. Mr. Speaker, half year they have done only 7 billion, about 54% of what they promised the people of Ghana. By the end of the year, they are saying they are going to do 10 billion in their budget. Mr. Speaker, this is far short of the glory of God, because the good people of Ghana has been blessed with resources. And
yet so na coptate dwumadia ekoso ewo Belem no ye kasa the Jospon group of companies one more any United Nations University of Research Institute into natural resources one more scientists pam ni nyina ne se abodi atwa ye ho ahia no se de yebeti wonum dwumadia ase ewo ye famu na ya hweso yie na atumi aboa ye eno nti ena agina so ama wasan scientists pam ya abibiman ye de ebebo ye ho bra.
This is the first time we are formally coming together as partners, and that's very important for us, especially in this age of climate change and green transition. So essentially, we're here at Belem, and this is where conversations are happening, negotiations are taking place. All of these negotiations are supposed to take Africa forward towards what we're calling a just transition. That transition is not going to happen if we don't have green businesses and green economies at the anchor. And so the partnership with Jospon is essentially a step in that direction. We're hoping that within this partnership we can do several things. We can bring good green businesses together. We can do research on what are some of the major challenges that that countries are facing. Green businesses are essential, but many of our entrepreneurs are not wired to do green business. The infrastructure is often not there. The technology is absent. The resources are not there. So it's almost like we have to retrofit and we have to almost bring entrepreneurs together, governments together, to try and understand what are the opportunities in this area and how do we leverage on these opportunities.
Today marks a significant milestone for us as we formalize a partnership with the United Nations University Institute for Natural Resources in Africa, UNINRA, an institution renowned for its scientific leadership, policy expertise, and unwavering commitment to sustainable development across the continent. This memorandum of understanding symbolizes more than cooperation. It represents a shared vision, a vision where research informs action, where technology and policy work hand in hand, and where African institutions lead the transformation towards sustainability.
Right here we have our own Kofi Annan charging the business community to come together with the UN to establish what they call the Global Compact, which is 25 years this year. And what he did was to charge them to come together to pursue a common interest and shared values and principles. And so what are the shared values and principles of the UN that were espoused by Kofi Annan? One of them is clean environment, one of them is sustainable development. And so what happened here is in furtherance of what our own Kofi Annan said 25 years ago, that businesses and private businesses should come together with the UN to promote this shared value. And that is what has happened. And for me, it is very good. It's going to help our people. It's going to train a lot of Ghanaians on sustainable development. And I believe all of us, including members of parliament, will want to be involved in this kind of training so that we will lead where the world is going.
Yetwa ensam no so for worship enyuma adansie na afa yensuwa ehun nsam so yon munyamfo Gilbert Kenneth Ej wa konsahwe wo Greater Accra mantam ha hwekwan a enzuyiri ahodo ya eyirifa enkran kropon no ye behwe ne atumi aso ano
ada moase se ne mo beka me ho ema ye boss a approve eye adwuma ministry no yɛde ahyɛ yɛn nsa a ɛyɛ sɛ yɛhwɛ ɛyɛ no emu baako ho ɛna yɛnam a ɛyɛ drains gutter ne nneɛma ɛyɛ sɛ yɛsɛ deɛ bɛyɛ nsuo tɔ a ɛnyiri ɛmfa nkɔfoɔ na bɛtumi anya gutters akɛseɛ ne mu ɛtumi afa nti ɛnɛ yɛkɔ around sɛ deɛ bɛyɛ a yɛbɛhwɛ sɛ wɔn yɛde nnwuma no hyehyɛ wɔn mo nsa no wɔn yɛ adwuma no sɛ deɛ ɛwɔ sɛ wɔn yɛ fa nti yɛkɔ baabi mmiɛnsa deɛ di kan na yɛkɔɔyɛ no na nneɛma ɛnhyɛ da ɛnkɔ yie na adwuma a yɛsɛ nkaban na no nkɔ mekɔ animu no na wɔn wɔ akyire koraa nti ɛhɔ no ansɔ yɛ ni ti e ka kire wo mo se omo ma ye hu sesei no emre na aka e wo manim no kwan be no omo be fa so etimi de awi omo ma ye hu se so omo de 3 months na be wi ana 6 months na be wi a omo ma ye hu every month no de omo betimi aye adru e na second place no so aye call ye ne de atimo amu hu bi e na omo kasa no musumo TV adwuma na e de hye nipa ne nsa no time no kra edri enisenko adru sa nanso nipa no ahokeka ne na adwuma din nti wa ya ama na broso ama yebo na baso ehwe se the next phase kra wo ho nam na adwuma a waye nti ebehwe ne de aka ne ho na watimi aye adwuma ne mo efi ho na yeba last site ha no ma eye aboso kan stretchy na hasoso na yi menteme ho asibi ewo enkratase mu ne entutuye nkakra bi enkoyie nti yefre wo mo ba office ene wo mo have a meeting the last time, but after that meeting no they say wo mo ba site wo mo eye wo mo ho aye adwuma.
The contractor is on time, on schedule. He started this work in February 2025. He's supposed to complete in July 2026, and as at now, like he indicated, he's done about 96%, meaning that he's way ahead of schedule. We are very much aware, or we are very much ahead of time for this particular project. And so there's another problem downstream as we go. So there's a termination of this particular drain downstream, which needs to be continued. And therefore, we will require additional resources to be able to continue so that we have a complete resolution of this flooding issue that we have.
Adankura numo ashe adane nson ewo budumbram biaye bia ofre no Big Apple.
PM enyumria ena minya a call from one of the community members oti baby a fire no esi say honorable yesro fire service for my own eja eshi fie nti quickly enough no ena me frɛ fire commander a obudumbram ha first of all no me di how do you call it, I want to thank the fire commander or the fire Ghana National Fire Service omo obudumbram ha. Honestly, all the fire service station I Ghana ha immediately I'm afraid within 3 minutes they came on the scene, and honestly no, even though ejano etumi ebubu edano ejano edano jubre, but at least they came and contained the fire, means to me and spread it to other household. Got
to the scene within just 6 minutes. That's 16:29. We got Yebedu fire grounds on reaching the fire grounds. We realized a compound house, 5-room compound house, and the fire was rapidly spreading throughout the rooms. And by the able ability of the firemen at the ground, they were able to bring the fire under control at 16:53 hours. And with what the firemen were able to do at the grounds, they were able to salvage buildings, some residences that were just behind the fence wall of the building. So the fire was just confined to the 5-room compound house. That was where the fire was confined. The fire was not able to spread to the residential apartments now ACC building it, So we thank the firemen for their swift response. We are still doing our investigation. Investigation is not a one-day job. We take time and do a thorough investigation so that at the end of the day we are able to bring out a good report about the fire incident.
Yamampenyi ehokafo maame Lodina Mahama abana kopiemu ewo sunwan ene ne mpotamo eyapomden kyerɛkyerɛ ene mu nhwehwɛmu no woyɛ ma omanfo wo ho esade afutu ama won ede afa yade brane a yefrɛ no HIV ne ho sɛde ebeya yebekrakra ye ho afira eho de owo bie soso wahu kwan a obefa so aso.
As many of you, HIV remains a significant public health challenge. Currently, over 334,000 Ghanaians are living with HIV. unfortunately, the Bono region is one of the areas most affected. This is indeed a serious concern. But when we work together and through education, effective prevention strategies, and early testing, we can turn the tide against this disease. Ghana has committed to ending AIDS as a public health threat by the year 2030. To the young people gathered here today, your health is more than just a personal matter. It is a national asset. Get screened not only for HIV, but also for malaria, hypertension, diabetes, and other conditions. For our young women, breast examination services are also available.
Through these initiatives, like the Better Future Project, implemented by the Ghana AIDS Commission and the Office of the First Lady, we are strengthening adolescent-friendly and maternal health services. These community outreaches bring healthcare closer to where people live, ensuring that no adolescent or mother is left behind. Next year, Ghana AIDS Commission will roll out the National HIV Prevention Policy. Key in this policy are novel strategies.
HIV no bibi oya pa ne say ebia an o maame and o papa beti anya ye bi wo bi na wo ma wiase na bede wo aba na bede wo aba wonim hwe na bankote se bammo be ho bane ampa duanum nti wo abede wo aba no akoka ho nti mama no so a mesre titro ema no abawo ha no bane ba kwa wo so na bede ye ba mesre ema no titro ben tese na ma tese amankwa no bete nya bane ye ne te mema no so bia nya kokodro se ne nana acha me hene ye nya kokodro se e ba kwa akoboso no ya nkoboso
Yeboshi ko wejagba ya babeto edwase nkwada nan akoto manho mu ama we prepra emodin
Besiade ya ba asore no akora bi na matira sei na oto gata num the reason why oto gata num say omo ababetu gata no mo de anwana say gu asoda no e kwa ye fa wo de wura asoda no e wo bra wo dada wo ho minim de tia ye tu wo foforo a ye nyim nkiremu bia omo twen so nipa bi ani ha no na ombetu say wo yi edito a enkura na be prepare kwasiade ya say ebi mu da ya sabe ebi nkura nan mu kura ebubu a ye hunu de ye ko nti assembly no enkasa na de area ye nyintum sa enkura be 4 na etuto gata na ye kwasiada no na omutu no ayi ememre dan so enwumre na obi ani ho
memebe hu ye no ni bisa say fiwa na oyeni pa ben na omo kacha mi say alaji muslim na mka say muslim ni de once ordinary sa ebedu time bi no obeka say asori no yinjai ni disturb no ni peace enche bia obe hu na de ye court then so be ko say bi esida me former church by she war no wo hodada ye twa war no wo hodada o wi aye so twa war no ye twa war no wo hodada no wa be twa war wa sa be lay foundation e wa asori ni asasi mu so ehu enya fine kwala yes kwala na be pra o be tu ade no Saturday ebi mue e very bad
alaji ko papa na owo no onu na o si dan na ma also two fence wall adenang sa sorry for you move back no wan sa de wan kwan what to way ababe fence wall wa ha se esan ba be bula se de be man ho se den
na de e koso ni se e kan sa sorry dan ni ye fie ni nsiota e yiri ye pa nsiota nya asem ketwa ye bre wa ha ye kitankwala na wo hye wo yi na wo hye ha no bi betu e betwa fence wall e wa ha nsuo ni ta ye instrument na ye ni ye ma ye bebre nti resra ba no mo e ka
to mo nso no ehe no ombefa nsuo be ya fa ha no nyina tan se nsuo to na eni be na otwe mienu a nsuo e wo fam ha no nyina sere da so wa Sunday school for ko munya be bi mpo no man on atana eje se adi wo mo ko hye inside nti ye sere no ne ye koso no ye nyina ye so nyankopon ba ako
ko kan yo mo se o se wono na ban na ba power mo se bi o ye ne nyina no nsuo to efa ho ye nsuo kwan o ana wasi kwan no ko kan wo so na ban na ba power ana wa be ye ayi na aban ye nyina se aban ye aban ye nyina na aban enti as ade we nsuo to ha se etimi yi a maso dem etimi ba ha what I say but nim the entire man no or yes I mean the attach anti wesa but Mr. Say aban entune no mehwe because ahaye opɛ be nsuo to a hadwen pa area ha nsuo to a hadwen pa because nkophobia asisi ni dan bebre asisi nsuo no ho e ma hadwen nti kakra na kan say aban entune no mehwe na akwan no so ye na adwe say o sisa wo no dia o si asinsuo na nsuo so de o situm de na nsuo to ha de wagya ha de bawe ha e be yi afa bebre.
We are for ye homeso na yato kra na said munim no bongo di faro aboabo agodi mu nsama na ode beto aye so nti me dane afenani mu e de ahye bongo nsa na ode moto aso bongo di faro akwaba
so ma me mejo so monu adwuma radiado
ye de radiase
obodwuma o
ai se mi sunsua agodi mu nsam ene de na ekọ faye eboru
and the fellas ne bebre unsem no blasters ko bo friendly match Saint Lucie
hey asemen
ebi se oto ado bebo na so moayen ye the fellas na eba
okay
America president
Donald Trump
akoshia Cristiano Ronaldo ye de ba
na ndie fa ye ho be
Ronaldo ye ipa
okay
samanyon so be ware
wow
blasters striker
ensem
okay so ma me da say obisafo e de agudie mu ensem UTV